friends, welcome back to my channel. And for some of you, this may be your very first time here. So I'm Georgia and welcome. So let's get into this video. Okay, so let's stop. So friends, have you ever felt like God was calling you to do something you felt completely unequipped for? Like every time you think about having to do this thing, you feel fearful of having your insufficiency being put on public display for the entire world to see. And the fear, it not only cripples you, but it doesn't allow you to venture outside of your comfort zone. If that is you, well, you have company. You know who else was fearful? This lady here and Brother Moses. You see, when we think about Moses, we usually think about his patient leadership of they always have a problem, always complaining Israelites. But let's take a few steps back to when Moses initially got the call. Okay, so in Exodus 3, God appeared to Moses through the burning bush, and he told him that he was really concerned about his people's suffering, and he wanted to end their suffering and carry them into a better land. Okay, so a bit of a backstory. You remember Joseph? Right, yeah, the one that got sold by his brothers because they found him annoying because he was his dad's favorite, and he used to get these superior dreams of his brothers and his family bowing to him, and they were tired of it and they sold him. And you remember how they sold him to Egypt, and when he reached there, he got into trouble with Potiphar's wife because she wanted to sleep with him, and he was like, I'm a good boy, and his decency landed him in prison. But even though Joseph fell on some hard times, some challenging times, his life was so blessed, and he eventually found himself as the governor of Egypt because God helped him to interpret the Pharaoh's dream. Okay, so long story short, eventually Joseph was reunited with his family. They came to live Egypt with him, and they didn't have any birth control, so they made a lot of babies, and there came into power a Pharaoh that didn't know anything about Joseph and what he would have done for Egypt and how he would have saved them from the famine and all that jazz. And he found that there were too many of these people, and he decided he wanted to get rid of them. So he ordered that all the baby boys they be thrown into the river Nile. But there was a lady named Jochebed, which is Moses' mommy. She was like, no, not my nice child. And she found a way to save her baby. Now the princess of Egypt found Moses, and she grew him up in the palace. And here we are today. New Pharaoh enslaved the Israelites, and now God is asking adult Moses to help free the Israelites. And if we know the story, we know how Moses responded. In Exodus 3:11, Moses said unto God, who am I that I should go unto Pharaoh, and that I should bring forth the children of Israel out of Egypt? The New Century Version says it like this. But Moses said to God, I am not a great man. How can I go to the king and lead the Israelites out of Egypt? And in Exodus 4:10, that's the New Century Version, Moses said to the Lord, please, Lord, I have never been a skilled speaker. Even now, after talking to you, I cannot speak well. I speak slowly and can't find the best words. And many of us, like Moses, we feel like we are not the person for the job. We ask, who am I? Who am I that I should be great? Who am I that I should start this business? Who am I that I should go back to school? Who am I that I should be a great mom, be a great wife? Who am I to have a wonderful relationship with God? Who am I to experience financial freedom? Who am I to start a YouTube channel? Listen, if you really know me, you know I have a love-hate relationship with speaking publicly. I usually stay quiet because I'm afraid of sounding stupid, or this one is a big one. I'm afraid of being judged or misinterpreted by what I say. So I just opt to stay quiet. I fear I fear speaking. Um, but there's always been a pull toward it that I couldn't really explain. But fear is something else. I remember not too long before I got married, something simple as asking someone for directions, and I stumbled upon my words, and someone that was close to me, they were joking about, you can't even ask a question. And I guess for someone else, may not have it may not have resonated with them, but because I have a fear of speaking already, it stayed with me. Like, I remembered it. And also there was this time I nearly bailed on my group members for a presentation at university because I was so afraid, I was so anxious to present. They didn't even know that I nearly ran away before that presentation. But the truth is, God really doesn't want us to be fearful. Because He said in His word, He didn't give us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. And I guess that's why He put it in there, because He knows, even though that's not what He desires for us, He knows His children, and He knows that we would get fearful at times. And that's also why He gave us stories like Moses. So these texts and these stories, they are there to encourage us and to let us know that we are not alone. There are others that went before us that were fearful, who had big tasks ahead of them, but God got them through. But sometimes though, even when we step out and we follow God's instructions and His calling, we don't always see things working out. In Exodus 5, God instructed Moses to tell Pharaoh to allow the Israelites to go into the desert to offer sacrifices to him. Pharaoh refused, and he gave the Israelites even more work. They usually were provided straws to make their bricks. He said, you will have to go out and find your straws to make the bricks. And added to that, you still have to make the same number of bricks that you used to make. Now the Israelites were mad at Moses and Aaron, and this discouraged Moses even further. I'll read from verse 21 to verse 23 just so you can get an idea of how the Israelites reacted to Moses and Aaron, and of how Moses subsequently responded to God. So Exodus 5:21 to 23. So they said to Moses and Aaron, and I'm reading from the New Century Version. Okay, so that's that. So they said to Moses and Aaron, may the Lord punish you. You caused the king and his officers to hate us. You have given them an excuse to kill us. Then Moses returned to the Lord and said, Lord, why have you brought this trouble on your people? Is this why you sent me here? I went to the king and said what you told me to say, but ever since that time he has made the people suffer, and you have done nothing to save them. And now on top of that, in chapter 6, we have God repeatedly expressing his desire to Moses to lead the children of Israel. And each time that God would have told Moses. Moses responded from his lack. The children of Israel didn't listen to me, so the king won't listen to me either. I'm not a good speaker. And just like that, we too, we tell God all the things that we are not, and all the things that we are incapable of, and everything that we don't have. It's as though we're building a case as to why we can't follow God's instructions. And in that moment, we focus so much on our incapabilities that we lose sight of our capable God and how much God is willing to come through for us, and how He has come through for us, and how He has come through for those in the past. Listen, friends, I know you are afraid. I know, even though you know God's word says that we need not fear. He hasn't given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. You are still afraid. But today I'm telling you to do it afraid. Let's do it afraid. Somebody's freedom is dependent on you to make a move. That person may be you. It may be a complete stranger. Or that person may be your child or your children. So let's do it. Let's do it even with the fear. Let's do it when we're shaking. Let's do it when our teeth are chattering. Friends, let's do it afraid. Thank you so much again for listening to this video. I really hope that it inspired you or blessed you in some way, because I know for me it would have helped me to begin the process of some introspection to see if you know there's something that I'm not doing just because I'm afraid of doing it. So yeah, that's what this video did for me. I hope it did something for you. Thanks again for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you. Bye. See you in my next video.
Oh.